Okay, good. Check it out. So what mine is teaching you there is the twist step. And if you're familiar with it, you can go like what he was doing, leaning, like horse, suspended to suspended. Now that same movement, let's look at the stance, right? Go ahead, right? He's in the suspended. When he twists, that's toeing out. So when the toe goes out, this is just pointing it like that, and then you step up, right? So if we did a full turn, then that becomes that twist stance. And we unwind it, it goes back to here. We twist and step up, that goes to a horse stance. When we cross, we pass through suspended stance, or when we cross and we stay here, then we go back into the horse stance. You see, so that's how we sort of alternate feet. You're in a right stance, you end up in a left stance. A left stance, you end up right stance. One's advancing, you're stepping forward. So everybody tries stepping forward. So advancing is to move in. You're moving in, you have that in your footwork. And then crossing behind is retreating to move back. So in the beginning, this is upper half, this is lower half. So most of us have a lot of control, or at least you try to copy the hand movements. So when you start to work your legs, it's the most difficult because we don't use our legs typically like this. So when you start to move your legs, you start to realize when you refine the movement, in order to move quickly, you have to have the footwork. So footwork is shifting weight. You can't get forward to a forward position unless you move your feet. So all the things that we're doing in our forms and our 5 stances is stepping, advancing forward, or stepping through, right? So let's get into a horse stance. Okay, the horse stance facing that way, right? If we want to move forward, what do? We do a sliding step, right? We move the front foot. If we want to switch feet, go to the other side, that's the twist, and then we move forward. Stepping forward, sliding step. If we go backwards, we can actually go sliding step backwards like this way. But we're looking toward this way. That's retreating. So when you take away the hands, it looks different because all you're doing is moving your hands. But this is what you're doing. He moves forward. I'm keeping the distance. See, now if I move forward, so the faster you move forward, the more distance you gain on your opponent. So, no, you've done fencing, so that's what moving forward is. You lunge, but you lunge, right? So when we strike out, we lunge. That's in the 3rd form. So footwork is very important to get to where you want to go to. And then sideways, laterally, and when we're here, we see that we're moving, we're looking here, but if we wanted to move laterally, that's actually if your opponent's right there. Right. Now if I wanted to face the opposite way, how would I get there? Who knows how to get to the backside? What would you do? Okay, see, right there. You cross behind and you spin. That takes you, that's a U-turn 100. So the cross step is used to switch stances, also to face the opposite way. So that's how, when you get the 5th form, isn't this what we do? So there's your cross step. You see what I mean? Then you're facing the opposite way, and you do your series of movements. So the better you are on your footwork, the better your hands will be, in coordination. Because you can move your hands fast, and if the feet don't work with the hands, you're going to have a disconnect between what we call the upper body and the lower body. So with newer people, that's the biggest challenge, to work your feet. And footwork is shifting weight. So this is what a lot of new people have trouble with, carrying their weight. So let's get in a suspended stance. Okay? So here, we have to sit. So what do? We have to bring our spine into the heel of the back leg. So that's your stance, okay? If we step behind, there's your stance. Okay, if your hand is here, that's the train. So someone asked me earlier, why do we put our hand on our hip? Because if you don't put your hands on your hip, you forget about your hands, and then you're just thinking about your legs. But when you put your hands on your hip, then you have a connection between what the position up here and what's happening below. So that's important, because we really can't use our movements unless the hands and legs are working together, right? In other words, if Max is in a ready position and he punches, if I just do this, step back, I haven't protected my upper body, right? But if I'm here and he comes forward, I have to actually respond. So the hands have to be working together. That's why it's so important to be conscious of this position. Even though we're doing this, this is actually still functional. At least you're conscious of that movement. Because if you think of this, if Max were to punch toward my chest, this is my shoulder, but toward the chest you can see more that I actually would use that position. Because if my hand is here, how would I defend that? I'd have to do this, right? But this is more efficient. You see? So when the hands are like this, it's kind of passing through that space. So this is actually training. You know, every position we have is something that's functional. So, any questions here? Mind anything else you want to work on there? So for new people, that front foot pivot is really important. When we're here and we spin and we step up or pull back. So this is called suspended stance or cat stance. So the suspended stance, this foot is light, and this foot, because it's light, has an option to do this, 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 or this. Right? So there's three directions. And where it goes is where you're going to be headed. Right? So if I'm here, this takes me forward, this takes me back, this takes me to the side. When I'm here and I pull back and then move here, I'm going in that direction. I'm here, I switch the stance. If I'm here, if I want to go backwards without switching the stance, I'd have to pull this foot back and move like this. Or cross behind and then double step. Okay. If I go forward, it would be like this. So you see, this is like in the third form. That's a continuous step, a multi-step. So that's sort of getting closer to where you want to get to. And what happens when your foot is light in the front, then if mine is standing there, you can see that every time I take a step, I get closer. And then I can kick and he moves back. Right? You see? So that gives you the opportunity to throw the kick. If I don't take the step and he moves back, he's too far away. But you move. See? So it gives you that little bit of distancing, just enough to reach. So that's what the suspended stance is for. You have it in Gung Kuen when you're like this. Right? Then you step. If we're on this side, we have it. Then we step. So those are real basic, but they show up in your form. Okay. So let's do the uppercut a few times. We have it in the 5 stances like this, but let's go from here. So it should be the front leg. So you press and lift. Press and lift. Low block, uppercut. 1, 2. Now this is a combination in the first form. So even though you haven't learned the first form for the newer people, it's still something that's important. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so when you practice your form with combinations of 3 movements, we learn it like this. 1, right? 2, and 3. Right? That's to build your sort of your framework of your movement. But in reality, you don't actually use the movement or create the movement by just doing one movement. You have to do a series of movements. So when you go uppercut, remove, and punch, you have the 3 stances. Leaning stance, suspended stance, horse stance, right? So, okay, so Victor, this is really new for you, but we're only on the right side. Uppercut, remove, and punch. So you have leaning stance, suspended stance, horse stance, okay? Now you pull those together, you have footwork, right? Stepping back, stepping back, stepping back, right? Stepping forward and punching. So you have advancing and retreating built into those 3 moves. So we're here. Ready? Uppercut. 1. Retreat. Forward. Uppercut. Retreat. Forward. So we do it again. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So if you do this frequently over and over again, then that becomes something that you're really familiar with and you can respond a lot better. You have to respond not by just doing one movement because you're stuck. You have to move so that your body is familiar and then it has a good response. Okay, so let's try that again. Ready? So this is when your form builds this into the technique of your form. So ready? Other foot, Cal. Ready? Uppercut, remove, punch. 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 Okay, go back, step back. So you know, in the beginning it feels a little sluggish. The longer you've done this, the better you are at it, so you can pick it up a lot quicker. So the brown belts are going to be better than the red belt. Blue belts will be better than the red belt, and so forth. So ready? Let's try it again. Ready? So let's see how fast we can do this. Ready? So if you've just learned it, it's going to be a little more awkward, but it doesn't matter. Ready? Go. Up and punch. Uppercut, remove, and punch. Uppercut, remove, and punch. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, go back. Okay, we'll try it again. Ready? So all you need is a good series of this. Now, if you notice, if you know the first form, there's an uppercut, remove, punch. Negating the squat down, we have an uppercut and a punch, right? Uppercut and a punch. So when you do it faster, it starts to blend. It almost becomes that third movement. So let's try. Ready? So you have an option. You go uppercut, remove, punch. Uppercut, remove, punch. Uppercut, remove, punch. Uppercut, punch. Uppercut, punch. Uppercut, punch. Uppercut, punch. Uppercut, punch. Okay, go back. So if you want to make it into aerobic exercise, that's how you make it aerobic. Because when you do a form, it's really positioning, the strategy, the coordination, all those things that you learn from the form. But any of the moves that you have in the form, if you group them into 3 movements, then you'll have a better cycling in your movement. Okay, so that's something that if you're going to apply the technique, it's something simple to practice. It's good to develop a good punch. It's something we're going to try to focus on in the next quarter. Starts in March, so that we can begin to be more effective with a few simple techniques, and then you'll evolve from there. And actually help your form execution, because when we're first learning it, it's all about position, accuracy of the movement. Just I only use the first form because this is what we're trying to do: create the structural integrity of your position. And then as you evolve, you can get there faster. So it's speed, accuracy, and position is that accuracy. The speed comes from, when you do this, you have this imaginary spot. The hand goes here every time, right? When you go here, your eyes focus on that point. And the reason for that is because you're using your body for reference. And when you do that, then eventually you don't have to look. You just know. So it's called the mind-heart relationship. You experience, you have this feeling that it's there. And then the movements will follow. Okay, so let's go through 5 stances, then go through the forms. If you're new, I'll work with the new people. Okay, so Victor, you want to come over here? Or should I go down the other end? I'll go down there. All right, Victor, you can go down there. You can run them through the forms. Yuki, it's Y-U-K-E, right? How do you, Yuki? Okay, over here. We're going to... You want to stay here? Okay. Okay, so everybody can shift over. Mine is taking you through all of the 5 stances techniques. Okay, so we're going to just go through some real basics. that's more for when you're doing, say, performances where you want, or a competition where you want to kind of change the tempo a bit, because your emotions come in and your execution is heightened, just so the judges can see your skill level. But when we're practicing, we want to develop accuracy of position, consistency of your movement, and build lower half. The leg work is the most critical part of your form, because with good leg work, your form looks so much more stable and has a lot more power when you're in your stance. So we go into a leaning stance, and foot's like this. That's not good, because you're not. So the reason for that is, let's everybody get into a leaning stance. I call it structure. When you're in a position, face me. Now we know there's hoops, triangles, and squares, right? So in the square push position, like you have in Gung Kuen, when you have a double push, the power is in the support of that back leg. You see that? So everybody get into that push position, and then you can feel it from the legs. Now, if this is skewed off just by a little bit, right? Just a little bit, right? And I push. Even if you put physical strength in it, it doesn't feel as stable, because it doesn't pass through your body. So when you do that, push like this. Okay, switch feet, because you work your other stance better. Yeah. And then you're leaning like this. Okay. And then push. Okay. Turn this foot in a little. No, turn the toe in, and bring the knee over. Right. Push. Bring your weight over the feet. You feel that? Okay. Now, if you're like this, you're going to push, and you feel how weak it's going to feel. Push. No matter how much strength you feel like you can't come forward, right? On this side, it's the same. If you overextend here, it's the same. You feel unstable. Here's your center position. Push. And get your knee forward. More. The knee. Just the knee. Yeah. See, your arms don't get longer, right? That's it, right? So the only thing that moves is this. So the importance of that is that, okay, Zane, leaning stance, and your push. This is now you feel that push, right? Okay. If I skewed like this, push. Do you feel the weakness? Yeah. Okay. Now, if I pull this hand back, put this back here, and you did a palm strike, right? And your palm strike is here. There's the strength, right? You throw a punch. Yeah, with this one. This is called your reverse punch, right? It's off. Push. That's where so the alignment of that position is how this hand should be when you're striking. It has the most potential and the best alignment. If it's over here, so that's how on impact, that's how the strength would be. It's not carrying through from your legs. So, if you understand that, your target position is when you punch to line that up. So how do you know what the alignment is? It's a visual. It's a visual thing where you line up your nose, your fists, and the front knee. Okay, so that's your line. When you're like this, both hands are square, and then you turn your body enough so that you have that position. But when you're punching, it shifts a little toward the center. Now you see the nose, the hand, and the knee is in one line. So that's your target position, because I'm here, and it's there. And I punch, it's the nose, the knee, and the hand. Boom. 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 Okay? So by doing that, over time, you develop accuracy of position. And if you don't turn your feet, we're going to practice it on this side. Get into horse stance, right? Offset horse. Pivot to leaning. Okay? Pivot to horse. Pivot to leaning and punch. Turn back and punch. Okay, turn and punch. Okay, let's all get in a left-sided stance, right? Yep, switch feet. Yeah, because we practice the right-handed punch off the left-sided stance. So we're here, punch, Okay, let's turn the feet and punch. 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 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I want you to turn your feet first. If you're already doing that, then just do it simultaneously. But you want to turn your feet and then punch. Turn your feet and then punch. That works your lower half, so you develop control of your pivoting and control that, that's so that you're not going to end up doing this. Because that happens a lot when you're doing the fourth form. You want to do the palm, but the legs don't follow. But if you drive from the leg, then you let the legs take you halfway there and then issue the power into the hand. Now when you throw a punch, this is a mistake, to turn the hand over too early. If you turn too early, you don't get what we call the spiraling force. Your hand should twist at the very end. So keep your palm up as long as you can. Just before it finishes, you finish the punch. And the reason for that, it's called a corkscrew crunch. It's a spiraling. What happens when you turn the punch at the very end? It has a twisting, spiraling effect, like a bullet going through a barrel. It spirals, and it creates a turning motion. So the hand comes out, boom. It's right at the end. So on impact, it actually strikes and turns. It drills into your target. So you can only develop that specific timing if you put it into the movement and be conscious of it while you're practicing, and then eventually it just becomes second nature. So when you throw a punch, boom. Yeah. So how it feels when you hit would be like this. If I'm putting into your palm, you could feel it twisting at the end. Boom. See? So in the chest it would be the same. In the face it would be the same. So that just gives you an idea. Not that you're going around punching people in the face, but the thing is, if you were to, because it was, a necessity, then you would want to give it the best shot, right? Boom. Now this also works too. This punch and this punch is called a sun punch. Now sun punch is square vertically down. A lot of styles only hit with the top two knuckles. We actually use the whole fist. So when you punch like this, you can turn your wrist down. You can punch like this and then turn the wrist up. And that is depending on if the punch is rising or falling, you see. So it drives like this and like this. So that's just something to define the direction when you're striking. That's why you don't want to tighten like this. You want to keep it loose so that if it's like this, it's like that. If it's like this, it's like that. So, the only thing we're doing is really recreating positions by controlling our skeleton. How do we control our skeleton? With our musculature. Our musculature controls all of these positions. And over time, while you're young, you may not realize the importance of that. But, as your movements mature, when you do these movements, the positioning creates strength and structure. Just like when you push. When you push, it automatically has to line up. It's not something that you have any time to think about. It has to come right out of your body. So that's what a reflex is. If you grab and you chop, it has to be spontaneous. It can't be, well, I think I'm going to chop there, or I think I'm going to poke there. You don't have that much time. You have a split second. It's ditak, ditak. That's all you have is for time. 1, 2. If it's 1, 2, 3, it's too late. So that's something you keep in mind. Okay. Now in the hoop position, that's your circle. We create a circle like this, You move it up, there's your upper position. You move it down, your lower position. Okay. What do we turn into it? We'll turn into it. It's still the same shape. So the shape is, when we say accuracy of position, it's that. When I'm here, it's there. When I'm here, it's there. See, we don't, in the beginning, we don't turn without using the stance. Right? We have to learn to turn and then set it up. Eventually it's together. So in this movement, we have the two sides working together. Right? Now here and here, you notice that this creates the alignment of this position. The nose, this point, and my rear foot. This is here, but this goes down through this side. If you were diagonal striking, it would be here. Now you see where they cross, there's still the center line here to here. When we turn to this, and like in the second form, there's your defensive move. Closing your ribs here before you get there. So you don't want to do this. You left yourself wide open here. You have to drop your elbows before you turn. You know, you drop your elbows before you turn. That's the most valuable tool, right? When you're sparring, like what you're going to be doing, when the hands are here, you don't want to just turn away. You have to sink. Your sinking and turning is what actually allows you to deflect. But the first line of defense is intercepted. So you have to intercept by sinking. Drop. Sinking is dropping. Lifting is rising. So that's a rising block. And you sink and you low block. So that's important to know why we would do something a certain way. Because if I punch at Mac low, he would drop his elbows. If his hand's in a ready position, he would just drop. If I go here, he lifts. That's the middle. If he goes higher, right, it's just this. All you do is have to touch it. Now, nothing goes one-sided. So if he goes up, he has to punch here. Because that's where the opening is, right? If I go like this, and he creates an opening, right? I actually leave myself open, but he's creating by blocking and then striking simultaneously, or just a little bit behind this, right? If I go low, I'm exposed here. So in order for me to protect myself here, I have to use this hand because I already committed this hand. See, so that's why when we're doing techniques, we have to understand this sort of a strategy. This is where we start as the middle point. We go up, and we go down. That's it. We go down, we go halfway. But you also can move. Well, moving is side to side, retreat, go forward, and back. So I just move the body, sustaining the hands, because when you sustain your hand position, that gives you a connection, because your hands always have to be in a position to intercept. So intercepting, see Max over here, is not necessarily just when his hands are coming, is to move my hand. Is you don't want, we could just do this. Right. So all I'm doing is using this position to deflect. Right. So my first movement is this, and then my next movement will be the follow-up. Right. So then I could go down once I intercept. So that's what a block is. You do a dragon claw. It's not throws a punch. Trying to do that. First line is here, and then here. So it's phases of motion. You first touch, and then you complete the movement. So this is the middle block. This is my finishing of that motion. So how you turn your torso is important. Now we all do this, but then it's kind of just the arm. Well, you're like this. We're like this. We're like this. So the body is minutely shifting. Now we do this. This makes it easier. It's easier to get that to work together, because once you block, you're going to punch. Now I'm not like this. I'm like this. I'm twisted. You see, so that's the waist movement that might not be obvious when you're first doing this. So So there's a lot of little things as you evolve. Those are the kind of things you should pick up in the yellow belt, well, the blue belt actually. So if you have red belt, advancing through to blue, fix all that stuff when you're in the blue belt level. When you get to the yellow and you start weapons, then you don't have to relearn this kind of basic thing. But these basic things will take you, through to the more advanced execution. And that's really integration of your legs and arms, upper lower coordination. You have to coordinate the whole body. You can't play any sport with just your hands. Maybe video games. You can't do, well, maybe even that you have to be on your feet. But there's no sport that you can play without your legs. You have to move, you have to jump, you have to run, everything requires your legs. That's footwork. All right, ready, bow? Up. Okay. How'd you do today, Eric? Huh? Tired?